Sometime within the next minute or so, somewhere on the planet, another big idea is being born. It might be a new song, a new product, who knows? And who knows how to make this idea grow and introduce it to the world? Let's find out. Welcome to The Next Big Idea with your host, Peter Gantner. The program is sponsored by kulaBrands, dedicated to help with branding, funding, and marketing the next big idea. And if that idea is yours, you want to pay particular attention to the particulars. Peter and his co-hosts and guests will explain just how it's done. If you happen to be an investor or just an interested party, you could benefit from the efforts of kulaBrands. You could become a part of their community of folks who want to help others and make money in the process. If that sparks your curiosity or wets your whistle, sit up and take notice. kulaBrands presents Peter Gantner and his guests on The Next Big Idea.
Hello, welcome to The Next Big Idea. This is Peter Gantner, and we are excited to be here today. And of course, I have my co-hosts, Deborah Caswell and Cory Moran. How are you guys today?
Fantastic today, Peter. It is a great day.
Doing absolutely amazing. It's great to hear everybody. Hello, everyone out there.
Well, you guys know every week we have a segment where we bring on some Kula members, and the reason why is they are supporting entrepreneurs. And the big part about The Next Big Idea is that every entrepreneur needs some support, and the more support that you have, the more likely you are to succeed in this journey called entrepreneurship, and with the next big idea. So we have Ken and Judi Russell, we have Sharona with us today, we have Carolyn Smith, and I believe we have Candis with us. So we're going to have a great show today. Why don't you guys introduce yourself real quick and just let us know where you're from and how long have you been a serial entrepreneur supporter?
Hey everybody, Ken and Judi Russell from Cape Coral, Florida. Been in the home-based business and been an entrepreneur for over 40 years now.
Sharona.
Hey, Sharona here. I live in Kippawa, Quebec. I'm Canadian. I have been an entrepreneur for almost 4 years. Very, very minorly before I retired, I started looking for something to do from home. I tried a couple things, they didn't work out, and then I met Cory Moran in another company actually, and he introduced me to kulaBrands, and coming up 4 years at the end of April is my time here with kulaBrands.
Wow. Candis.
Hey, this is Candis. I am from Alabama. I have been serious entrepreneur for the last 3 years with kulaBrands. Tried many other businesses and wanted to be an entrepreneur, but this one really took with me because I enjoy helping other people and watching them succeed. So this is a way for me to give of myself and to help others succeed. So.
And of course, we have Carolyn.
Hi, I am from southern Alberta in Canada, a little town called Bow Island. I have been trying to make money from home for 20 or 30 years, a long time, never successfully. Was very, very excited when I saw kulaBrands come along. I have been in for 3 years, and I am more excited now than I was when I started. I'm a huge fan of Dragon's Den here in Canada, which is similar to Shark Tank. And I am just so excited to be able to get a piece of other entrepreneurial pies.
Awesome. Well, guys, it does take a lot of work to take a company to the marketplace. And that's actually why we founded kulaBrands, because I've realized after a lifetime of starting companies, going out there and creating success. And of course, having products in mass market, ending up with a product in a Happy Meal, being in Forbes Magazine, Wall Street Journal, all these different things, guys. We've kind of reached a lot of the points that some of you entrepreneurs out there are thinking, man, if I could just get there. And the one thing that I realized is that having help from other people is absolutely necessary, whether that's your customers, whether that's family, friends, whether that's investors. all of that helps you begin to develop it. And so we like to have this show every week so you can hear from the perspective of the people that are helping you. Because sometimes we don't really, I think, understand how important it is, and also how much easier it can be when you have people on your side behind you, pushing you along. You heard the thing, I'm self-made, or I built this myself. You definitely have to participate. You definitely have to be the driving force and inspire other people to get on board. So here's my question. You guys, you can just go ahead and talk and just, kind of go back and forth as you're doing this. This is a question for everybody on here, okay? What is the most satisfying thing about helping? Because we've helped now throughout kulaBrands, depending on when you've joined, 43 entrepreneurs bring their products to the marketplace. What is the one thing that makes you the most excited about doing that?
Oh, I can answer that, Peter. One thing that makes me most excited about it is being able to see their product on a store shelf and knowing that myself and others were a part of that.
Well, I got to tell you, it is so important. I created a product. It was a gag gift. I'm not going to get into what it was, but I was going out for a retreat, a business retreat, and I stopped in this little store. And we stop in there, and they had a whole bunch of different products on a back shelf, and there was my product, right? I was so excited. It was almost, not quite, but almost like when my children were born, right? It was very exciting to know that when I first came about, it was just an idea, and now it's a product. And also, too, when I walked into Target and when we were doing the Crazy Bones, and there was right there when you walked in the store, Crazy Bones and Mutation Station. But I got to tell you guys, in both of those instances, it took over a year of working 14, 15, 16, 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, being completely dedicated to the success of my product. And that's a big point to make here, guys. If you're an entrepreneur right now and you're listening to this show, I want you to understand that this is not going to be, in 6, 8 hours, 5 hours a day to get your business going. Getting a company, if you want to build a national, international, global brand, you are going to have to pay a price. You're going to have to sacrifice until your brand gets big enough, and then you get to benefit from that. Anybody else have something that you're really excited about outside of just seeing that product on the shelf of the store?
I think one of my favorite things is to watch the growth of these different inventors and look at some of the trials and tribulations that they go through. They try to get their product into different outlets and into different stores, and then all of a sudden the contract falls through, and then they're on the brink of giving up, and they're on the ledge, and they just don't know what they're going to do. And then all of a sudden the script gets flipped and good things come their way, and it's just like watching a little baby grow up. It's just amazing to watch the growth of some of these inventors. The
example that comes to mind, and I know that you and Judi have both helped out a lot, is Rockietta, right? I mean,
Absolutely.
At one point she was excited and to come in and get her product going, ran across some issues, got knocked down completely on the mat. I'm thinking she's out for the count. All of a sudden comes back, Rockietta gets back up, and now she's in the Bye Bye Baby stores. They've got the Tot Box. She's working with the other couple of the other female entrepreneurs in kulaBrands. And so that's a great example of watching somebody who hit the wall and then rose to the occasion, where we do have a couple others that have hit the wall and they did not rise to the occasion.
Exactly. We talked her off the ledge 2 or 3 times. She just lives across the river from us over in Fort Myers, and we've sat together on several occasions. And I told her one thing. I said, it's not going to get better ever if you decide to give up. And she goes, oh, I know. I just don't know what to do. I said, well, you've got a great product. It's just a fact of, even though we've all been promoting and all been trying to help you, the right eyes have not seen it yet. And when the right eyes finally saw her product, you know, that got her back on the road and she's all happy, and, you know, it's just going to keep getting better from here.
Yeah, and it's just amazing. I mean, that is the point of this show, right? Is being a support system for an entrepreneur. Look, you may not be able to come up with the next big idea. You may not want to work this 70, 80, 100 hours a week. But what you can be is a support system for the people that are out doing that. And of course, that's the reason why we built the model. The hard part about doing that in a traditional sense is figuring out how to get compensated for it. And that's the reason for kulaBrands is we had a whole bunch of people that needed to make residual income. We had a whole bunch, or a smaller group of creative people that had ideas and concepts. Realizing that the group that wanted to make residual income could help this other group, we just had to create the mechanism that would allow the entrepreneurs to share revenue with this group for supporting them. And that's what kulaBrands is about, guys. It's a model that allows that to happen. But with or without kulaBrands, you really need to dig in there and find everyday people that are willing to support and help you on your entrepreneurial journey. I got to tell you, we're just getting started with today's show. We're going to dig in a lot on this, guys, because it is so important. We're going to hear from Cory and we're going to hear from Deb throughout the rest of these segments. We are coming up on the end of our first segment, which I can't believe because it seems like we just got started. But we'll be back in the next segment with more on building a support system to help you with your entrepreneurial journey. I want to thank you for joining us in our first segment.
You're tuned in to Better Living Radio, streaming worldwide across the internet, and you're listening to entrepreneur and thought processor Peter Gantner on the next big idea. Stay tuned. Peter will be right back. You may know David McLaughlin from his program here at Better Living Radio. A lot of people know him because he's helped them to get money for residential and commercial properties when they'd just about given up. Diamond Dave McLaughlin is a pro with a wealth of knowledge and a responsive attitude. Yeah, he's one of those guys who actually calls you back. In fact, the cornerstone of his business is built on great communication. David specializes in helping people with one of their most important dreams, financing a home, and enhancing the economic well-being of his customers one loan at a time. It doesn't have to be complicated. If you're looking for a pro to guide you through any kind of stress-free financing process, catch Dave's show. It's called Where to Get the Money. You can get all of Dave's contact info. In fact, the best place to find David McLaughlin is right there on the homepage at betterlivingradio.com. Better Living Radio is on the air, and yes, it's everywhere around the world. Are you wondering, hey, what's the big idea? Well, funny you should ask. Our show is called The Next Big Idea with Peter Gantner. In fact, we're back with more on Better Living Radio.
We are back with of course, my co-host and our guests, and we are talking about supporting entrepreneurs, getting involved in it. So, guys, we really see the participatory economy coming on. Before getting involved in kulaBrands, how many of you guys have heard that term, participatory economy?
I've never heard of it.
Not me. No, never.
Okay, and
then now.
Go ahead, Sharona.
Now that you say it, it sounds like participating in something. So I'm taking that as being able to participate in somebody else's success. Is that where you're going with that, Peter?
You are dead on, right? It's
so that I am.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely about participating and figuring out. So there's two sides. The participatory economy is figuring out mechanisms, and of course kulaBrands is one of those business models that instead of saying, hey, I'm a business owner, I'm going to try to keep as much of this as possible, I'm only going to hire people and pay them. It's about letting everyday people without maybe a full-time commitment, right? Because we all have maybe jobs that we worked with or things that we've done where we got equity in the business, maybe if we were an executive or that type of thing. But this is about finding ways to allow more people, your customers, people that normally would not have equity in your business or an interest in your business, to be able to earn it by doing the thing that they normally do, not doing something outside of it. So kulaBrands is a model where you simply purchase products, you receive credit for that, and you participate in this overall lifetime success of that product. I believe that in order to fix a lot of the haves and the have-nots, the gap that's growing, one of the keys is by implementing the participatory economy. So maybe there's a program. So it's a let's say it's a hyperspeed loyalty program. So how many people here on the panel use a loyalty program right now with the stores that you shop at or purchase or where you get gas?
I
No.
definitely do.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Cards for everywhere.
Excellent. And so that is giving you, for being an existing customer, I've already set up my business. I have it up and running. I've got business going. You start to come in. I say, hey, if you keep coming back, I will reward you. The participatory economy is I'm getting my business started. I don't have any customers. So if you become a customer of mine, and if you help me acquire other customers or you do other things for me that are necessary for me to get my business up and running, then I'm not just going to give you a reward every time you come in. I'm going to give you a reward every time anybody comes in. Now, guys, which of those rewards programs sounds better?
Definitely the second one, Peter.
The second
Yeah.
one.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Definitely.
And so we're a
Sign me up.
mechanism, guys, that allows
Yeah.
that to happen, right? That is what we do here at kulaBrands. And so the people that are on the panel with us today, Sharona, Ken and Judi, Candis and Carolyn, they are currently right now supporting and helping entrepreneurs through the journey. We have 43 entrepreneurs, all in different stages. Some are just getting going. Some keep running up against walls. Some have already got their products in the marketplace and are starting to take off, right? Whether it's in a Walmart store, whether it's in a, some of the major truck stops that are out there, or maybe it was on, we've had a couple products on HSN. So we've experienced helping entrepreneurs through this journey in some amazing ways. And so maybe some of you guys, for the listeners that are out there, whether it's somebody that says, I want to support an entrepreneur, or maybe it's an entrepreneur that says, you know what, I do need help getting my business going. Can you guys maybe give them from your perspective how it's been? Because most of you guys now have a couple of years helping entrepreneurs. And I know that most of you guys have helped at least maybe 15, 20, 30 entrepreneurs at least. Can you give them some advice in this journey of entrepreneurship or starting to figure out ways to utilize the participatory economy?
Sure. I love supporting through crowdfunding the entrepreneurs, but they have to remember they are getting started and they are just developing their product, and things don't always go the way things are planned. So if you are supporting them through crowdfunding, you have an expected date of a project. However, that doesn't always come to pass. So sometimes you're waiting a little longer for the things you get.
And so getting upset about it, do you think that hurts or helps the entrepreneur if you're getting upset about it? If you help, let's say you help somebody in crowdfunding, there's a delay. Is there any advice out there you'd give people that are helping people in being maybe patient with that and being more encouraging, not letting them get away with not sending the item, but maybe helping in that process, because they are entrepreneurs and there are a lot of steps that take place in order to make this happen?
I would say that you wanted to keep in touch and informed, and make sure that they keep in touch and informed with you, but be kind. Like Carolyn said, the things don't happen overnight, and there's a lot of things that can happen during manufacturing processes. We've seen that a number of times because we may not be doing the manufacturing next door. We're doing it someplace else. And I would say that keep diligent, but be kind with them.
Well, on the inventor side, we've heard this from the last show that we did, guys, and I think it might come up every show that we do with people that are supporting entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs out there, please, please, please listen. I know you're busy. I know you've got a lot of things going. I know you're trying to make your business make it. But you've got to take a few minutes and update your support system on a regular basis, whether it's through Facebook or email or somehow. You must communicate with them. One of the most frustrating things, and I know because I'm an entrepreneur and I'm a community member, one of the most frustrating things are if you're not hearing from the people that you're trying to help and support. And I think here's an important part in entrepreneurs that are out there. Even if bad news, so I'm going to ask the panel here, if somebody has bad or good news, is it worse to not hear about, or the bad news part, is it worse to not hear about it, or is it better for you to hear about it? And when you do hear about it, are you going to complain about it, or are you going to try to help the entrepreneur get through that problem if you know that it exists, guys?
Peter, it's worse to not hear about it, and here's why. Your brain starts to create your own scenarios about what's happening, right? Oh, we haven't heard from them. Maybe, oh, they must have this happened or that happened, or they're not coming back, or they don't want to be a part of Kula anymore. And all these scenarios start rolling around in your head when really it's just that they got tripped up on something. And they become a little, I don't know if it's, they feel bad. They feel bad that they weren't able to get something to the community, and they stop communicating. But sadly, if they just communicate, those scenarios wouldn't run in our heads, and things would be so much better. And we can turn instantly and become their cheerleaders and help them with whatever they need.
And that old cliche doesn't work either, that no news is good news. It's all about communication, and you guys had some really valid points there.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. And remember, guys, if you're not part of Kula right now, you're going to do it, you still have people that are supporting and helping you, and again, even outside of kulaBrands, you still need to communicate. Was that Sharona that was trying to speak there?
Yeah, I was just going to say, our entrepreneurs, they're people. They're regular human beings like we are, and we often forget that. We put them on pedestals. We have such high expectations, and then we realize, then we hear from them after we haven't for a while and find out, they had a health concern. Somebody in their family might have passed away, and then we're like, and then we can be compassionate and what can we do to help? Because that's what we do best.
Well, moving a business forward is about momentum, right? And if you've ever pushed a car up a slight hill, you can't stop pushing that car, because if you do, you either have to hold it in place, which is exhausting, or it rolls back on you and you go back to the start. And so if you're communicating with your support system, then they can maybe help the car keep going up that slight hill, right? Or sometimes it feels like a mountain you're pushing the car up, but let's not jump into that segment yet, right? Of moving things forward. So the key is if you have people that are supporting and helping, you're, again, an entrepreneur out there, make sure that you are communicating with them, because it's nothing more frustrating than wanting to help somebody succeed and finding out that they're failing and with something that you could have helped with. So we just had a recent situation where we have something that we're dealing with that's a time-sensitive thing, and we just shared a post with the community. And already there are people that are opening up doors and making things happen, because we had let the community know, the people, the support system, we let them know that there was a situation that needed some help. And this happens all the time in the entrepreneurial space and moving things forward. So we're coming up towards the end of the second segment of our show, but we've got 2 more segments to go, guys. And we're going to keep talking about this, and we're going to dig in to some of the things. We're going to get into some specifics of some of the things that the people that are on here are doing in order to help entrepreneurs. Because I know some of you guys are going, but what can people do for me? We're going to talk about some of those things. We're going to talk about them throughout kulaBrands, and of course, how you can do them outside of kulaBrands, some ideas and concepts of maybe ways that you can do that. So again, thank you for joining us on today's show. We're going to be right back after the end of this break. We're going to keep talking to our panel about supporting entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial journey.
So are you wondering where the next big idea will come from? Well, you'll hear about it first here at Better Living Radio. See, this is the show called The Next Big Idea. Maybe you got the next big idea, or maybe you just like to make some money from it. Peter Gantner will explain when we come back on Better Living Radio. Each week in his live video market and economy update offered to his inner circle, Dan Frischberg delivers the in-depth, professional version of his famous Market X-ray report, live and interactive. Now that means you get to ask all the questions you want. And if you can't make the live meeting, you can watch the report on demand, then email your questions in and Dan will email the answers back or include them in the next live report. Week in and week out, Dan brings you the ideas and specific stock picks from his friends, the people you see on TV and read about in the papers. You'll see what they're buying, how they're hedging, and when they're taking money off the table. At last, you'll get to see how the insiders negotiate the institutional macro bonds that billionaires on Wall Street rely on, the ones almost everyone else never even heard of. When you become an Inner Circle member, Dan will share with you his lifetime of experience and guide you to the best teachers, the best stock pickers, the best option strategists. And you'll be invited to exclusive working vacations in beautiful locations for the Inner Circle only, where you'll rub elbows with some of the most famous investors on Wall Street. So, how do you value the lifetime of skill and experience of a top investor on a mission to share it all with you and help you become one of the few winners? If you've been listening to Dan for a few years, he's likely already made you tons of money, or even more important, saved you from losing a fortune. Now, there are limits to the capacity of the online video sessions, but right now, for a limited time, Dan's offering you the position of charter subscriber, get this, for less than the price of a cup of coffee a day. For all the info or to subscribe, just simply click on themoneyman.com. themoneyman.com. Welcome back to Better Living Radio and this amazing idea for a radio show. It's called The Next Big Idea. Rather ironic, wouldn't you say? Hey, if you've got an idea, you might want to talk with host Peter Gantner or one of his guests here at Better Living Radio. Oh, look, here they come now.
So let's dig into some specifics on some of the tips and ways that people can help you. Of course, Sharona had mentioned crowdfunding. Crowdfunding is something that has just popped up, and maybe you don't know of Indiegogo or Kickstarter. These are crowdfunding platforms that allow you to do. And there's two types of crowdfunding, guys. There's equity-based crowdfunding here in the U.S., which is the Jobs Act. And I know from Canada and other places you can actually do this equity-based crowdfunding. And then you have reward-based crowdfunding. Reward-based crowdfunding, the basic idea is you're just going to receive the product. You're going to purchase a product from somebody that's going to allow you to get that product. What I believe is the best way to do that, guys, because you want to keep people engaged and you want to keep them. These are your early customers. Figure out a long-term way. And of course, that's what we've done through kulaBrands. We figured out a long-term way through our technology. We built an entire technological platform and we issue points in these projects, which then we collect royalties from the inventors and we share those with it. So if you're somebody on here going, hey, I'd love to support entrepreneurs, but I also would love to build some residual income, you can go to kulaBrands.com and you can check out kulaBrands there. And that is exactly what we do. And it really helps to keep engaged because you see the benefits of the help that you're putting in. But I do want to give tips because we cannot do every project in the world. We're very, we were very picky, I guess, with the entrepreneurs that we work with and the products that we work with. But you don't necessarily need to be part of kulaBrands in order to figure out ways to help people participate. It definitely makes it easier. So maybe, guys, can you go into some specifics on some of the ways? So we've got crowdfunding down, of some of the ways that you guys are helping entrepreneurs through maybe contacts. I know Ken and Judi have a very interesting one. Julietta, which we talked about earlier, she found out that the storage place where she was working out of, because you guys entrepreneurs, we work out of storage places, out of our homes and storage places, right? Oh, I don't have enough room at home. Let me put it in a storage place. She found out that they would not let her pack and ship at a storage place she was with. Ken and Judi, can you tell us that story quickly?
Yeah, we went over there to help her get her first shipment out from her original crowdfunding, and that's when they kicked us out of the storage unit. And I thought she was just going to collapse. So I looked at Ken, and Ken looked at me, and we knew we have this pretty large house. And I said, "We've got a spare bedroom. Can we do it from there?" And I thought she was going to cry. Well, she actually did. Go ahead, honey.
She did. Something told me to bring my truck that day versus driving the car over there to help her. And I told her, I said, "Julietta, no problem. Let's just load the truck up with whatever you have here. You don't need this storage space." And so we were the very first shipping department for Easy on Babies and Julietta Recommetta. And yeah, so that was one of the ways we helped one of our inventors. And it was a special time, and it's just been getting better and better ever since.
And
it was a lot of fun too.
And it was fun too for us.
Absolutely, and it's so cool because think about it. She didn't own a truck, so she would have had to go rent a truck or find a friend or borrow something. Then where do I put it? I put it in my home. Of course, you know, she has a smaller home. Spouse gets upset, right? You've got all these issues that you guys helped her overcome, and it's just absolutely amazing. Anybody else with a story of a way that you're helping entrepreneurs right now?
Can I just butt in real quick before somebody else goes and just say that this is the part about kulaBrands that has me just so in love with this model. Ken and Judi, I mean, they just random people who happen to be members who have actually become some of the best friends that our entrepreneurs have, especially Julietta. That's incredible. People don't have people like that in their life that are at the ready. And not just that, but they have a vested interest in truly jumping in and solving the problem that Julietta was having. I absolutely love this model.
And can I just say
It's a week thing. It's a week thing. Everything happens for a reason. And we were there that day to help her because she was gonna get asked to leave that storage spot. And so we were just there to help her out.
Yeah, and also when you go back to Peter, what you were talking about in the first segment, I truly believe when you build a model, when you make the community the asset of the business. So when the community is the asset and nothing else, and that's the priority, you give the people a voice and you empower the people to be able to step up and step out, especially out of their comfort zone, or you give them the platform to where helping another person is so available and it's so easy. And then what happens is these stories unfold. So I just a beautiful thing about that. And I know somebody else wanted to say something.
Well, you know, Ken was saying it's a we thing. So instead of this, I did this and having this attitude of, well, if it wasn't for me, the world would be a worse place. It's we did this, right? And that's what I think I love about, you know, coming up with the idea for kulaBrands from an inventor perspective, bringing this, helping, you know, get the community started. That's what I love the most about it. When we're on our calls and we're talking about helping entrepreneurs, it's not they or I, it's we. We did this together. We helped make this happen. And I got to tell you, Ken and Judi, their stores at the Bye Bye Baby stores in Florida carry the Easy on Babies. How proud were you guys when you went in that store and saw that display, knowing that it wasn't there when you helped her out and that you helped her in this situation at the storage place, and now all of a sudden it's in a major retailer and people are coming up and purchasing that product?
We were ecstatic when we were asked to go over and help a little bit with the branding of that product over on the east coast of Florida, two of the stores over there. And it just made us so proudful that we could help Julietta and this brand and the kulaCommunity out with whatever we could do. And just a quick note, I was able to help her at a industry baby show in Orlando, and that's where the contact came from the Bye Bye Baby. And so we feel like we've really helped, but wanted to do it just out of helping.
Well, you know, after starting a lot of companies, guys, and if you go look on Forbes magazine, I was in there for guerrilla marketing because we would go around and we do demos and promotions in businesses. So I know what that takes. When Judi mentioned them going to stores and doing promotion and marketing in the stores, I literally I had to hold myself back from just saying, that's it right there, going to the stores. So I get my product in a store, and I know that if I go do a demo or meet with the store owners, it's going to help in the sales of that. But as an entrepreneur, without a community of people behind you to help you succeed, you would have to go from state to state, from store to store. We were able to, with Julietta, get somebody in all 25 stores to help out without breaking the bank. It did not cost her which is normally what it would cost, tens of thousands of dollars, probably more than she made on the entire order, to get people to go in there and do that. Because we have a support community, we were able to get people in there and do some demos and do some marketing for it and help in the sales of that product. Guys, I'm telling you, there is nothing more satisfying, unless you're going to be an entrepreneur yourself, and you're going to go through the entire process of coming up with an idea, developing that idea, legal, financial, then getting it to the marketplace. It is such a rewarding thing to do, but it's also extremely hard. So I would say for most people out there, becoming a support system for the people that are doing that is the best way for you to get to that point and make that happen. Anybody else with some way that you're supporting? I know maybe some of you guys have done shows for some of the entrepreneurs.
Trade shows.
Trade shows.
Yes. Again, it's like promoting and marketing. You're out there, you're doing demos. Myself, I would do trade shows at, the Elks Hall or the Lions Club or church basements. We have people who've been doing state fairs, from one extreme to the other. Hundreds of people across the U.S. and Canada doing these trade shows, providing branding and marketing for our entrepreneurs. And, at the same time, making a residual income for ourselves. It's great. I started out doing one item, and then I, added another one, and then another and another. And now I come to, I'm doing a show. Which one should I pick this weekend? Everything is amazing products, things that people really want to see. And here we are, real everyday people doing it.
And tell me, Sharona, when you're doing that, are you telling the story of the entrepreneur? When people come up, do you just say, oh yeah, it's a great product, and sell it to them? Or are you like, oh, this is Julietta, or this is this person, and you're engaging with them about this startup and about this entrepreneur? Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. It's always my pleasure to say, I used to very fondly say, my friend Cliff Henthorne, these are her, because Cords of Steel was my very first product that I used at trade shows. And I used to tell the story about how he brought these to us and what an amazing concept. And, and it's great to say, because we do know these people, we're on first names. We can call them on the phone or message in Facebook. Like we know them. They're not just some people.
And that is so important. Yep. We are coming up on the end of this segment, guys. We are going to be back and talk about that, because one of the keys is here, and I know somebody mentioned earlier, it's the friendships that you build with the entrepreneurs that is extremely important. The value that we create for these entrepreneurs is amazing, and it's incredible. And I'm telling you guys, with help, this is much easier. We'll see you in the next segment.
You're tuned in to Better Living Radio, streaming worldwide across the internet. And you're listening to entrepreneur and thought processor Peter Gantner on the next big idea. Stay tuned. Peter will be right back. You hear Jackie Simmons daily here on Better Living Radio. As the founder of the Teen Suicide Prevention Society, she's presenting a course to help you become a Make It a Great Day advocate. It's a series of weekly classes, and by the end of the course, you'll be able to listen. Just Listen, without trying to fix or strategize or help. It's one of the most critical skills in the world today. Jackie explains the 7 key techniques to create conversations that break the cycle of hopelessness, proven techniques to help others break the silence and save lives. You'll learn to open the door by setting the right tone right from the start. Stop wasting time wondering if there's a need to speak up. There is. After registering, simply pay what you wish. There's a suggested donation on the website, along with a long list of bonus items to come when you register and attend. You can become an advocate. Just click on makeitagreatdayadvocates.com. Do you absorb information on stocks and the markets better when you can see it in black and white? You can read all about the subject matter heard on the Dent Market Digest simply by clicking on to harrydent.com. There are lots of articles detailing the stories you hear about on the show. There are videos featuring Harry, constantly updated so you get the latest info available. There's info on Harry's latest books. Plus, you can easily subscribe to Harry's e-letter. It's called Economy and Markets. And pardon the pun, but it's a wealth of information you can get every day, and surprise, it's absolutely free. Each weekday in Economy and Markets, Harry, Rodney, and the rest of the team offer commentary and analysis on their latest forecasts, demographic and stock market trends, the housing market, critical economic cycles and policies, investment strategies, and so much more. To register, just click on to harrydent.com, and remember, all of Harry's contact info is on the homepage at betterlivingradio.com. Better Living Radio is on the air, and yes, it's everywhere around the world. Are you wondering, hey, what's the big idea? Oh, funny you should ask. Our show is called The Next Big Idea with Peter Gantner. In fact, we're back with more on Better Living Radio.
So we've been talking with our panel here, guys, through the other 3 segments and into this final segment about supporting entrepreneurs and helping them in their journey, the participatory economy. So far, we've covered ways to help entrepreneurs, reward-based crowdfunding. You could also do equity-based crowdfunding. We've talked about doing trade shows. We've talked about just maybe helping them pick up some stuff and deliver it because they don't have a truck. There are so many ways to help entrepreneurs. Is there anybody else with a story that you'd like to share with a way that you've helped an entrepreneur in the last thing? And because we're going to talk about, there's a huge way now to help entrepreneurs, and that is with social media. I don't know how many times I've seen somebody promote something. I go to their site and they got like 12 friends on Facebook, and I'm like, well, this can't be really that big. Or maybe they have a video that has 9 shares or 29 or 129 shares. So social media is a big part that we're going to cover. But real quick, before we get to that, is there anybody else with a story they'd like to share about a way that they've helped an entrepreneur?
I would, Peter. I had the pleasure of meeting Jen Olo at one of our Kula parties, and I bought some of her books in bulk to sell at trade shows. And I'm a school bus driver. So as I was going on my different routes, I drove for several different schools. I had the pleasure of donating one of Jen's books to each one of the school libraries. And that was fun because it is such a cute story, and it's just one more way we can get the products out there.
Well, Carolyn, you also helped out Cords of Steel, correct? You lined up a fundraiser. So you had an organization in your town that needed to raise some funds. You said, hey, we have this cord. How much money? You've done this twice now, is it? 2 different times with the same organization or different organizations? Give us that real quick on doing trade or fundraisers with schools with an entrepreneur's product.
I did one. My first fundraiser was for a very, very small school. They only have like 50 families in the area, and they raised just about $2,000 for their school. And another school heard about their fundraiser and contacted me, and they did a fundraiser and they raised just about $6,000 for their school. So it was good for the entrepreneur. It was good for the community, and it was not so bad for me too. I made a little money on the side as well. So it was a win-win-win situation.
Participatory economy, everybody wins in the situation. And again, that cash flow helped the business, the organization got funds, and Carolyn made some money off it, as well as the satisfaction of knowing that she's helping that entrepreneur succeed and all of that entrepreneur's success system. So real quick, guys, let's dig into, because we've only got about 7 minutes left in this segment. Social media is such a big part of brands. A matter of fact, there are social media experts today making millions of dollars a year directing people on how to market their brands, how to get it going, and make some stuff happen. So we at kulaBrands do a ton of social media. Matter of fact, we have videos with over 150,000 views on Facebook. A matter of fact, guys, there is a superstar on this call, Deb, who created the video. If you want to go check it out, it's by Donovan Lee. Another area where Carolyn got a chance to be in there. She is a writer. She had written a poem about kulaBrands. Donovan connects that together. It is a song which you can see on Spotify. If you go on, it's the kulaBrands anthem. So that was another collaboration, another way where a community of people or an individual in a community was able to help an entrepreneur with their project. I'm sorry, guys, if I'm getting so excited about this. I love the process of being able to have people help entrepreneurs through their journey, because I believe there is nothing more satisfying than at the end of the day, either being that inventor that allowed and had people help them, or being that person that helped them. It's just absolutely incredible. So real quick, guys, let's dig into social media. Some of the things that are happening, some of the things that you guys have been doing out there, sharing, liking, commenting. I'm going to turn it over to the panel and give us some of the ideas. Now, we're going to have Cory talk a little bit about this as well, because he is one of our experts here at kulaBrands that works with social media and help bring this stuff together.
Absolutely, Peter. You say social media branding. What does that all mean? Actually, it really comes down to algorithms. That's how social media works. That's how social media operates. And, that's our main driver when it comes to kulaBrands and your effect that you have online with your brands. And when you talk about a community, many hands make for light work, you can really drive algorithms through Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, and all these top sites that are used to exploit brands and to sell products and really to build an image. And so throughout my 15 plus years of network marketing through social media, the power of algorithms has really come to light in the last few years. And this having a community behind you and with you when driving the launch of a product, or you're wanting to drive certain updates or news, or you want to have a inventor focus or inventor spotlight, that's the exact way to do it. And I think, especially in today's world, social media can be easily overlooked by people that aren't part of a newer generation that know how to utilize it. And we've actually had a lot of members that have gone from social media novice to social media experts in a very short period of time, just by learning the basics and just by experiencing, the kulaBrands model. So that's very important.
That is awesome, Cory, and you're right. There's been so much that we've been able to learn through kulaBrands. I absolutely love it. One of the things that I love to do for our entrepreneurs is live videos. Just go live on Facebook, show the products that we have one at a time. Maybe a new one comes and I receive it and I take it out of the box and I start using it. Or I personally like to do it after I've used it a while, so I can be so incredibly genuine in that video on how much I love the product. We're very lucky that the products that have come to us so far, most of them I use on a daily basis, and I can really speak to how the product has helped me, and I can show it. I can demo the product. I love doing the live videos, and I love watching our community do them as well.
Yeah, it is so important, Deb, because you would think that somebody gets something, maybe they would do that, but without being part of it, without knowing the entrepreneur, it is so hard to get people to do those type of things, except for maybe the big influencers. And we know what the problem is with that is, right? Money, right? They want this is, because you guys have heard the stories, these influencers making multiple millions of dollars. I think there's like a 7-year-old out there that's like making $9 million a year. Well, for him to demo your product and talk about your product, you're going to have to write a 10, 20, 50, $100,000 check. But if you can build a community of supporters, let's say you have 1,000 people that you find that love your product, and they all only have, 3, 4, 500 people on Facebook. When they share your thing, it's going out to 3, 4, 500,000 people. That's a lot of people that can get exposed to your brand. So it's not only, and by the way, if you're going to find the big people that are going to do it and they're not going to charge you a lot of money, you need to go out and create that excitement, that energy in the marketplace. So by building a community ahead of time and getting them to help you with your social media is huge, guys. You're going to have to invest. And remember, we've talked about 80, 90, 100-hour weeks. Well, why does it take that many hours? Because if you're not shipping, if you're not working on your product, if you're not doing your accounting, if you're not, selling your product in stores, which you have to do all that stuff, your spare time, your extra time is spent on social media, creating content, finding other content that you can attach and utilize, as well as building that audience, thanking your customers, your fans, going through and answering and responding to questions. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I love about our model is that entrepreneurs that don't get a chance to respond, a community member will usually jump in and say, oh, you can purchase it here. Or they can give them their experience with that product. Well, guys, we are coming up on the last minute of our segment. I would have loved to have heard from all of our panelists on this subject, but we are running out of time for today. We're going to be back next week with another panel of supporters of entrepreneurs, because again, guys, this is an extremely important part of your success as an entrepreneur and bringing a brand to the marketplace is having a community, having that support system, and moving this forward. We are in a new age, a new world, where you just need this stuff to build these global brands and take them to the marketplace. So we want to thank you for joining us on today's segment. We definitely want to thank our guests for being here today. I want to thank my co-hosts. We will see you on our next show, The Next Big Idea. Keep making things happen.
Did you ever imagine that these little inventions like radio and the internet, that there was a time when they were considered the next big idea? And yet here you are today, having just heard a program called The Next Big Idea. Peter Gantner is your host. He's one of the founders of kulaBrands, and they can help you whether you've got an idea of your own or you just want to get in on the ground floor of the next big thing. Peter and his co-hosts and guests are here weekdays on Better Living Radio to discuss the ins and outs of creating, manufacturing, branding, and marketing the best of the big ideas. Maybe you've got one, or maybe you want to be involved in one. You're definitely tuned into the right spot. So hear this. You can hear this program weekdays at the same time on Better Living Radio as kulaBrands presents Peter Gantner and the Next Big Idea. The weekly Dent Market Digest is heard on Better Living Radio. It features Harry Dent, well-known master of the new science of finance. Along with co-host Rodney Johnson, Harry explains how they forecast the markets. As detailed at harrydent.com, there are some keys. First, predictable spending patterns at various ages and stages of life. Second, who spends what? As larger groups age and spend more, the economy grows. Third, our birth rate. New generations come along and there are new cycles of spending, earning, and productivity. Next, Harry looks at spending waves to estimate peak spending times. And finally, he looks at the inflation indicators. Now, by analyzing this information, Harry Dent has been able to successfully forecast how spending will change in the years to come. You can follow along by clicking on to harrydent.com, and you can find all of Harry's contact info on the homepage at betterlivingradio.com. The next $1 million idea is being formed each and every day. How many of those ideas, brands, companies, or musicians will break into the market, let alone make it to the top? At kulaBrands, we work hand in hand with inventors and creative folks to boost their brands. From concept to products ready to take the world stage, kulaBrands provides entrepreneurs with funding, brand creation, gap sales, marketing, and more. Using a rewards-based royalty system, both kulaBrands and your company succeed. Where will I get the money? How do I reach a global customer base? How or where do I get my products manufactured? kulaBrands helps solve these challenges and helps your business on a path to success. kulaBrands, changing the way new ideas get to market, and yours could be next. Reach out to kulaBrands at kulaBrands.com. That's K-U-L-A, kulaBrands.com, or see the contact info on the homepage at betterlivingradio.com.